Lovely to be here. I love the energy in this campus. Every time you walk into a campus, you feel amazing. Um, Being here, I've always dreamt of passing out of a campus like this. Eventually, someday, I'll achieve that. Um, I just want to start by taking a vote on how many people in this audience are looking to be entrepreneurs. So if you could just raise your hand. Okay, that's a lot of people. Uh, so by the time I finish this talk, I want to again do the count and want to see still how many people want to continue to be entrepreneurs. Okay, where does it all begin, right? It all begins with an idea. And this idea could be born out of anywhere. Some people might get it during their usual routine that they're doing. Some people might get it while they are driving. The point is that it can happen to you at any point in time. If you go back to history and see how a simple act of an apple falling from a tree led to the basic laws of physics. It was just an idea that Newton had, saying that this apple was falling from the tree, and he just applied the laws of physics to it, and boom, there was something that was born. What I'm going to try and do is that I'm going to give you some anecdotes to how we went about doing this, and how you can achieve this going forward through my experiences of getting at something from an idea stage to an execution stage. We were three friends, just passed out of management school, holidaying in South Africa, and on a drive trip, we just heard this radio jingle which said that, hey, you know what, you want to buy tickets, log on to this website. And something in our brain just kind of ticked. That was the eureka moment. We said that, look, in India, we've got a problem. At that point in time, you had no access to buying tickets online. You'd had to walk up to a cinema, buy those tickets there. You had absolutely no information whether the tickets were going to be available. So we just figured out that if we had to apply this idea to the movie industry in India, we would be able to solve a problem for people. Having said that, the first stage obviously is ideating, and then beyond this is the most tricky part, which is the ability to take risks. Any person who is not willing to put everything behind that idea that he has is not going to make it to the next stage. When we've thought about this concept and came back home and tried to convince people that we wanted to execute something like this in India, everybody told us, no, it's going to be too difficult. The cinema owners said, we don't need you during the weekends. I'll give you inventory during the weekdays. The government said that the laws don't allow you to do that. But the problem was that we were all doing our existing day jobs and were just moonlighting this as a project. Until one fine day, we just decided that, look, if we have to succeed, we're going to have to give in 100%. That's when one of my business partners decided that he was going to quit his job, and the two of us followed after that. So the point is that unless and until you're not willing to risk everything behind that idea, you will not be able to reach the end stage. Once you have decided that you've gone beyond the idea stage, decided that I'm going to put everything behind that, is where you have to create a plan. You would then have to figure out what is the market size, what is the demand and what is the supply for the product or the services that you are looking to offer. And after that is where you would come up with this plan, which could be small, which could be big. It just depends on your aspirations. When the first plan that was made by us was, you won't believe it, it was a plan which required 2 million rupees, not $2 million, 2 million rupees. But then soon we realized that, if we had to make something big over here, we would have had to get more money, which means we would have had to go to investors at that point in time. Then that plan became 20 million rupees. So it's very difficult to estimate what those needs are going to be at that point in time when you're looking to execute something. But just stay focused and make sure that you're reaching out to the right people and taking the right advice at that point in time. Just to give you a ballpark number, that today the money that we have raised is over 6 billion rupees. So it just starts small, but you got to create that plan. You got to have small steps in terms of, what is my first milestone, what is my second milestone, what is my third milestone, and eventually have an end goal. Once you've done that, what you need is also a proof of concept. Whatever that you've been talking about, you need to execute it in a controlled environment. Once that proof of concept is ready is when you're willing to move up to the next stage, which is scaling up your company. This, in my mind, is the most difficult part of running or for an entrepreneur. Because so far, what you've been doing is that you've been operating in a very controlled environment. Now, all of a sudden, you're out there where you have to face the real world. So what works sometimes in a controlled environment is very different than what the reality is. Some businesses are fortunate enough where word of mouth spreads. Within 3 months, the idea is out there, it goes viral. And there are companies who will take more than 10 to 15 years to reach that same end goal. So the whole part of entrepreneurship, I would say this is one of the most difficult and challenging part of setting up an enterprise. While you're doing all of this, you're going to face a lot of adversities. There are going to be a lot of failures. And whenever I talk to any entrepreneur, I tell him that failure is your first step to success. Because unless and until you haven't failed, you will not be able to succeed. I mean, that's my personal belief. Just to reconnect this to how we went about it, when we walked in to a venture capitalist in the year 1999, the very first guy who we walked in cut us a check of $500,000. The next 2 years were very easy. Like I said, you're just setting up the base. It's proof of concept that you're trying to establish. But then there was the reality of 2002, where the dot-com world just went bust. And from being 150 people having offices in 6 locations, we went down to being 4 people, 3 of us who were co-founders, and an office boy. And we had to rebuild everything from scratch all over again. So in the journey, failure is something that is evident. And you have to take that in your stride, not get demoralized by what is going on. the along the way, you will face a lot of adversities. I want to quote two examples in here. There was the global financial crisis that was going on in the year 2008, 2009. Um, any prudent company at that point in time was basically retrenching people, making sure that they were cutting down costs. Now, I look at adversity as an opportunity. We did not want to retrench any people. So what did we do? We took a vote among all the people and said that, hey, look, everybody needs to take a 20% cut. And everybody agreed to that. When we started the business, it was a person answering the phone and booking tickets. We figured out that technology could solve this problem, and we could build an IVR system which could replace that person. So we became more efficient. Now, in doing all of this, by the time you get out of the crisis, you actually come out as winners, because now when you're scaling up your business, you actually don't need new people. You don't need to go out and hire people, because all you have to do is that correct that pay scale again, and you have gone ahead of everybody at least 5 times. So you're not rebuilding from scratch again. The second big example that I want to quote here is the fact where our business was not allowed to charge a fee, and that was the way we earned our the revenue for the company. So what did we do? We thought about alternative ways of making money. So instead of charging the convenience fee, we figured out that, let's try and figure out that if we can incorporate advertising within our services, then we would be able to earn the revenue, and at the same time, we can charge convenience fee where it was possible. When we were able to convince the government about the service that we were giving and come out winners, now we have a dual revenue stream where we were charging the customers a convenience fee, and we were able to earn from advertising. Seems to be jumping ahead. What you need to do is, in the journey of being an entrepreneur, you have to persist with your idea. You have to believe in it. Like I said, the life cycle of businesses is very difficult to estimate. There are companies who have gone and got valued in multiples of billions in less than a year. And I mean, that's possible. But that is something is probably 1 in a million chance. But the life cycle of any company that needs to start from scratch to, I would say, a phase where there's a steady revenue stream is anywhere between 10 to 15 years. That's how long it takes to build a company. So during this time, you will have to persevere, you have to stay focused. Having said that, once you've reached a particular level where the company is at a steady state, you would have to innovate. I would say you have to stay ahead of the curve. Companies who don't do it eventually die out. There's a famous company that all of you know died out, which was in photography, was taken over by a mobile phone company who themselves did not stay ahead of the curve. And then there was another smartphone companies that came in and eventually took away market share from them. So when you build enterprise, it's very, very important to just make sure that you're staying ahead of the curve. Whatever that is, if that's a product, if there is your service that you're trying to get out to the market, you have to continuously innovate and make sure that you're ahead of the curve. Now, having done all of this, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of effort. Like I said, 10, 15 years. And after doing all of that, the chances of success for any enterprise is probably about 10%. Right? So 90% of enterprise fail for various reasons. I mean, you could be early for the market, maybe your product was not acceptable by the customer, what you thought you were giving out a service, but luck does play a very, very important part in achieving the end objective or creating any enterprise that you're looking out to achieve. As an ending thought, I want to leave behind this saying by Swami Vivekananda, says that, just take up this idea, focus on it, make this an integral part of you, and that's how you will be able to ultimately succeed. And what is not written in here and what I haven't said in my presentation is the fact that if you love something and you believe that that is something that is so important for you, that's when you will be able to achieve success. So do what you love, enjoy it. Thank you very much.